ThaiPBS Eng.News service, I'm Supajong Pinswan. Despite the National Broadcasting and Telecommunications Commission's order that True Vision must honor its agreement and let subscribers view the European Football Championship on free TV channels via their set-top boxes, True Vision's announced earlier today, apologizing to its subscribers that it cannot relay the signals from channels 3, 5, and 9, as the channels are within contract with GMM Grammy, the broadcast rights holder, and they will not allow True to uplink the signals. The next round of negotiations will be held on Monday or Tuesday. So for now on, viewers who wish to watch the Euro 2012 will have to see the games through Grammy's partners on channels 3, 5, and 9 via a conventional antenna, or by installing the GMMZ satellite receiver and dish. Moving on, the Department of Mental Health is asking the media not to speculate on the winners of each Euro 2012 match, believing such commentary would provoke viewers into gambling. Meanwhile, a poll found that more than 60% of Thai women have gambled at least once before. A Bangkok University poll found 27.5% of its respondents have plans to gamble during the Euro football period, the largest group admitting in answer to their questionnaires that they will gamble was 15 to 25-year-olds. The stakes varied from 50 to around 500 baht per match. Of course, word on the street is that the actual stakes for some could go as high as 6 digits. And it's not only men. An ABAC poll survey has found that 62.5% of women surveyed have gambled at least once. 4 out of 6 women aged under 20 have tried gambling, while when divided by occupation, women who do not have a day job, including students, gamble the most. The Mental Health Department says gambling addiction is a sickness and that victims need rehabilitation. However, the mass media speculating on of which teams have a higher chance of winning means delivering content which provokes the viewers to gamble, as they now feel they have more confidence. As flash floods and landslides continue across the country, the National Disaster Warning Center has issued an emergency warning about imminent flooding in the south, north, as well as the central region from today through June 13th. Meanwhile, the Agriculture Ministry is preparing to distribute essential supplies to the local residents through service centers established in the risk areas. The floods continue to hit many parts of the country, including the southern, northern, and northeastern provinces of Thailand due to the heavy rain in the past few days. In Phrae province, a severe flash flood has destroyed the railway in Den Chai district, while 500 houses and 4 schools in the area have been damaged by the 2-meter-high flooding and a landslide. The heavy rain has also eroded 30 meters of Sivichai Road. The level of floodwater in southern provinces, including Ranong and Krabi, is decreasing. The roads are now passable as usual, but the water level of many rivers in the northeast has been rising. The local authorities have urged people to be prepared for flash floods and landslide. Additionally, the Agricultural and Cooperatives Ministry is preparing to set up goods distribution centers in the flood-prone areas in an effort to help the victims during the disaster, especially in the south, where the greatest level of damage exists. Furthermore, the National Broadcasting and Telecommunications Commission announced that the organization will collaborate with radio stations across the country and mobile network companies to prepare emergency communication in case a massive disaster occurs and set up mobile phone signal service vans to ensure continuous network coverage in the disaster zone. The Weather Forecast Bureau says that heavy and widespread rain is likely across the entire country over the next 2 days. The downpours may cause flooding in the 3 northern provinces of Mae Hong Son, Tak, and Kamphaeng Phet, while southern provinces like Chumphon, Surat Thani, Nakhon Si Thammarat, Ranong, Phang Nga, Phuket, Krabi, and Trang should stay on high alert, especially those living in the foothills near waterways. And now moving on to politics, the Constitution Court judges are now getting extra protection from police after their personal information was revealed via the internet. Meanwhile, the red shirt supporters have dispersed their gathering in front of Parliament after getting over 20,000 names in favor of removing the constitutional judges. The red shirt leaders have now called for an end to their gathering in front of Parliament after they have succeeded in gathering more than 20,000 names of people who wish to see the top judges removed. Red Shirt supporters feel the judges of the Constitution Court should not have taken the case of the Constitution Amendment debate in Parliament into consideration. Despite the House Speaker and MPs having legitimacy in carrying on with the debate, the Constitution Court judges have asked the House to wait for the court to decide if using a Constitution drafting committee to rewrite the law is illegal or not. Now, personal data of the judges and their families are being exposed on the internet. Police are offering extra protection to the judges. Former advisor to the Bangkok Bank of Commerce, Rakesh Saxena, who was involved in a 1.65 billion baht fraud that sparked the 1997 financial crisis, has been sentenced to 10 years in prison. On top of the 10-year prison sentence, Rakesh Saxena, who has been a fugitive from Thai authorities since he fled to Canada 20 years ago, was also ordered to pay a 1 million baht fine and repay 1.132 billion baht. Rakesh was extradited to Thailand in 2009. As an advisor to the now defunct Bangkok Bank of Commerce, Rakesh and his party, some of which have already been jailed, made fraudulent loans to cronies of its management. Under the company called City Trading Corporation, they received a 2 billion baht loan by submitting only 36 million baht worth of land ownership as guarantee. The collapsed bank exposed the weakness of the Thai financial system and helped trigger the 1997 Asian economic crisis, also known as Tom Yam Goong. Although foreign investors remain confident in Thailand amidst the ongoing political turmoil, the vice chairman of the Joint Foreign Chambers of Commerce in Thailand would like to see negotiations and compromise being made among the various color-coded politicians and movements. Additionally, with the birth of the AEC in 2015, he thinks that there is a lot of preparatory work to be done, especially since the member of countries have widely varying degrees of economic development. Here's more from Kun Rungtip Chodapalai.
Any concern on political situation in Thailand?
For sure that the political stability is very important. So we have to find out that what is going to happen.
I mean, but is this like a risk factor? Is it very important?
Yeah, it's always the risk factor that the foreigner will calculate on it, right? So as long as we can solve it, and that will be either good or bad. There's only one or the other way.
But for you, you've been in Thailand for like more than 30 years. You think that they will resolve, or which way that it would lead Thailand to?
I think that it can be solved. But the one thing that we're concerned is how long it takes time and which way they're going to solve it. So I still suggest that the negotiation and compromise is very important because political is for long term. So whatever can be solved, we try to solve as soon as possible. If whatever still cannot find a solution, probably we have to compromise or take a little bit long time. Yeah.
But you also said like we have to prepare ourselves for the AEC, the ASEAN Economic Community in 2015. Yeah. Have we prepared enough?
I think that around all the Asian countries, I'm traveling around, I don't think that people are much prepared, but I think everybody putting a lot of effort. But at least everybody have a same point of view that the deadline, the timing is 2015. So I think everybody had to speed it up. On a lot of legal issue, on a lot of law issue, and a lot of investment policy. And because it's not, you are not standing by yourself, you have many neighboring countries together. So we got to find out a way.
What are you most concerned on the AEC?
I'm most concerned in AEC because there are still different levels, GDP and level and income in different countries, and the gap is quite big. Right, so we had to find out a way, right, what will be the stage and how to handle it.
The Energy Policy and Planning Office has adopted the third edition of the 2010 National Power Development Plan, or PDP. The plan will effectively increase the country's energy generating capacity to over 70,000 megawatts, which is expected to support the growing economy through to the year 2030, or 18 years from now. The third edition of the 2010 National Power Development Plan, or PDP, has received the approval of the Energy Policy and Planning Office, or EPO. The plan covers renewable and alternative energy development schemes as well as energy conservation action plans. The PDP's aim is to embrace the expanding economy while also supporting the government's policy on basic infrastructure. Arak Chontaranon, the Minister of Energy, indicated that the ministry is in the process of drafting a more updated 2012 National Power Development Plan, which will likely take 8 to 9 months to complete. In the meantime, however, the 2010 version will be applied. The Energy Policy and Planning Office has dedicated to extend the country's oil reserve requirement from 60 days of consumption to 90 days to provide a more effective buffer against possible oil shortages in case of a geopolitical unrest in the Middle East and fluctuating in the world oil price. The Energy Minister will take 4 to 5 years to study and construct oil reserve warehouses, and as much as 200 billion baht is expected to be spent, but this money will not be coming out of the country's foreign reserves. The government's heavy subsidizing of LPG knocks a large dent in the state oil fund to the tune of tens of billions of baht per year. The public's addiction to cheap LPG, the price of which is among the lowest in the region, has led to the overuse of LPG, which then leads to arbitrage and, according to energy experts, is expediting the depletion of indigenous natural gas in the Gulf of Thailand. Academics caution that the state subsidy has to be lifted to allow LPG prices to reflect the true market value of LPG before more harm is done. Here's more from Kun Bandit Gert Bandit.
For more than 20 years now, the retail price of fuels in Thailand, like benzene, gasohol and diesel, have been floated to reflect the changes in the world oil price. However, LPG continues to be heavily subsidized by the government through the state oil fund, which does so by collecting levies on petroleum products. With all its other financial responsibilities taken into account, such as subsidizing gasohol E20 and E85, the oil fund is currently running more than 22 billion baht in the red.
At
the moment, the greatest strain on the oil fund is the state's subsidy on LPG, which the government subsidizes to the tune of about 3 billion baht per month, or over 30 billion baht per year. This explains why the government needs to reform the LPG price structure to better reflect the world price.
Widely used in cooking, transport and industry, the LPG used in Thailand is partly extracted from the Gulf of Thailand and partly imported. Although the price of imported raw LPG has already exceeded 26 baht per kilogram, the government continues to cap it at 10 baht 33 satang, while subsidizing the difference. As of May 1st this year, including other price components, namely taxes, oil fund levy and marketing margin, the LPG price for cooking is around 18 baht, approximately 21 baht for transport and 30 baht for industrial users. This makes the LPG retail price, such as LPG for cooking, considerably cheaper than that of our neighboring countries. According to an energy expert, the enormous subsidy on LPG is not what the oil fund was actually established to do.
The first function of the oil fund is really to serve as a bumper in stabilizing domestic retail fuel prices, while the raw prices of petroleum products follow the world market. The second function is to act as a reserve in time of emergency to prevent fuel shortages in the country.
Apart from putting a strain on the oil fund, subsidizing LPG also leads to the problem of arbitrage, as people smuggle cheaper Thai fuel to neighboring countries for sale at higher prices, a trade estimated to amount to no less than 5,000 tons of LPG per year. Furthermore, while there are government measures to try to prevent people from using subsidized cooking LPG for transport and industrial uses, these measures have failed to stop the practice, and the cheap price of the subsidized LPG has resulted in excess usage, as more and more motorists switch from expensive energy alternatives to LPG, while factories substitute liquid petroleum gas for the more efficient fuel oil.
ข้อสำคัญที่สุดเนี่ยก๊าซธรรมชาติในอ่าวไทยเนี่ยมันใช้แล้วมันหมดไป
The most important point is that natural gas from the Gulf of Thailand, if overused, will be depleted in the next 15 to 20 years. Therefore, we must set LPG prices at a point that reflects their true market value. If we continue to keep LPG artificially cheap, people will use it wastefully without conserving this valuable indigenous energy source.
The Thai people have, for a long time, enjoyed artificially cheap LPG. Energy experts stress that it is time for the government to gradually allow the free market to work its own magic. While doing so, however, it is crucial that the government put in place appropriate measures to help those who would be most vulnerable and hardest hit by higher LPG prices. Problems must be anticipated and addressed before devastation strikes.
Thank you, Kun Bandit. And that's all the time we have for tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. We'll see you Monday night. I'm Supachong Klin Suwan. Sawadee krap.